guys, it's LK. That's Liam Killen. It's been like forever since I've done an OP1 video, so I think that it's pretty long overdue at this point. It's actually been 2 months. Kind of blows my mind. Time flies. I sort of like coined myself as a teenage engineering / OP1 guy a while back on YouTube, which makes sense because I've covered a lot of their gear in my content. And so it sort of just happened, which is great. It's a great instrument to be associated with, that's for sure, along with all other teenage engineering products, of course. That being said though, I do cover a lot of other electronic instruments in the same sort of LK fashion. Those are my initials. Instruments like the Micro Freak, SP404, Keystep 37, Drum Brute Impact, a buttload of music software, Logic Pro 10 content. I feel like we're sort of becoming like a rare breed these days. All that good stuff. And so if you're interested in that sort of thing, my insights on other electronic instruments, I've left a link to a playlist in the description, which is categorized by instruments and companies that I've worked with. There's a lot. And here's a card for Arturia products as well. I usually try to save this next part for the end of the video, but I just learned that the notification bell is much more important than actually subscribing. So if you're a subscriber and you want to hear more from me, make sure to hit the notification bell. It really helps this channel a lot. Because, you know, I want to grow. I want us to grow together. Anyways, that's enough with that. Let's get into the meat of this video. So today, as the title suggests, we're going to be focusing mainly on bass tones and how I came up with the bass tone for the track that you just heard. This is what the bass tone sounds like alone. I'm using the Endless sequencer. If you're sort of just feeling lazy and you want to use this exact bass preset that I came up with, it's available on my Lofi, along with a few other cool OP1 presets that I came up with. So that's linked in the description and it's a free download. Who knows, maybe you'll be interested in something else while you're there. The thing about bass tones though, and I should say about any tones really, is that finding the tone is about 50% of the process. How hot do you want to record this tone in relation to the rest of your track? What effects do you want to use on this tone? How do you actually want to record the bass tone into your track? So do you want to sequence it? Would you rather just play it freehand? And so we're going to be taking a look at all of this. But before actually throwing down a super hot bass line, let's actually build the rest of the track around it. And so as you heard from the example, we're sticking in the house realm. This is going to be a house beat. Ready? Let's go. All right, my peeps. So here's the synth sample from the track that I just showed you. So I chopped it up between the F and the G and I want it to be spot on, so I'll be using Endless. Here we go. Should be good. You can already hear that I've added a tremolo LFO, so it's making it pump on the quarter notes. And if I want, I can make it pump a lot harder than that. Let's just experiment a bit with that. Right? It's a bit intense. In addition, you could also bend the pitch of the sample along with the pumping. So here, let's hear what that sounds like more intensely. Whoa. Yeah, so even around 10, it's a little bit too intense around 10. That's why I keep it very subtle most of the time with this effect. Just a very subtle bend. You could also flatten it as well. I'd rather keep it sharp. I have an OP1 video that focuses specifically on this sort of sidechain effect. There it is. We're gonna record that synth onto track 1, and I have a little trick for you guys. So right now this is an 8-bar loop, and we want this to be a super clean cut going back into the beginning of the loop. So we're gonna make this a 9-bar loop, And then we're gonna cut it at the 8th bar, so it's just super clean. You don't have to rely on your own timing. It's a lot easier that way. You know, if your timing sucks. Okay, so record. Here we go. Right, so then we'll go to that 8th bar right here, cut. We could also lift it if we want, just to get rid of it, keep it really clean. And then out back at the 8 bars. Let's hear how clean that is. Oof. That's like a solid clean cut, and it makes all the difference. Polishing up your tracks for you. We're gonna go to the opposite end, the last track, track 4. This will be for drums for now. Let's find a kick. There's something about the Dem drums kick. It takes up a lot of space, but maybe bring it down a bit. Let's try this. We'll go with that. We'll see if we can make it work. It's very likely that we're going to end up layering the drums as well, so we'll get into that later. I want this to be quantized, so we're going to use endless once again, like so. So we've got our kick drum levels, and I have another trick for you guys as well. We're gonna find the root note of this track. This is another subtle way of polishing up your tracks. If the kick is in the root note of the track, it just sits better. Let's record that. So this will be layer 1 for drums, and then we'll go to track 3. This will be the higher frequency drums up top. We might use nitro to cut the low end. We'll see what we're gonna do. Drums, and now I'm gonna go to finger, which is another sequencer that I love. You know, the 2 monkey drummers. Like, this is an OP1 preset, by the way. This was already programmed into the OP1. I've never changed it. See what I'm saying? Right, so that low end might be getting a little bit muddy, so we're gonna actually add, like I said, nitro, and we're gonna cut that low end. Let's try that. I'm also cutting some of the hi-hat because I'm planning on adding a second hi-hat over top of this on all the upbeats. That's a very house music-y thing to do, to have 2 separate hi-hats, lots of perks, you know, lots of layers. stick to high frequencies here on track 3. I'm gonna add hi-hats over top of this. I'll just program it into endless and then we'll go through a few sounds. Here we go. Them drums sounded pretty good, yo. Matt's, okay. Let's try it with the beat. I think Matt might be good too. Oh, yeah. Maybe even lower than that. So just to be clear about that, we're actually like down more than an octave, I think. Right, so this is middle C. Yeah, so we're down an octave and then a minor third. So, and it sounded pretty good. I think that works. Sounded pretty good. Let's go over to take all the effects off. So we'll go with that. Let's record it. Let's hit it. Okay, so that snare, that like cracky sort of tumbling down the stairs snare thing, let's add a layer to that. Let's go to like a more conventional sounding snare, maybe. Yeah, so I'm adding this snare onto track 4 because I consider it more of a low frequency thing, more so than a high frequency. So we have kick and snare on track 4. There's no snare yet. And then track 3, that's all the high stuff. So back to track 4, here we go. Nah, not feeling this. Whoops. That's kind of cool. Let's hear that down the octave though, or down a few tones. Okay, so I'm going to add a little variation to that as well in the 8th bar of the pattern. I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to endless once again, and we're going to go to 16th notes. I'm also going to count along with what I'm adding here just to help you keep track of this whole pattern. So first bar, second bar, third bar, fourth bar, fifth bar, 6, 7, 8, bah, and that's it. Once again, we're going to play with the swing, which I think is the white, no, it's the green knob. Make it around 57. Let's try that. Here it comes. Right, so there's just that little variation at the end. Right, we can even go lower if we want. Maybe. Okay, B flat. Yeah. Yeah, that one sounds pretty good on the B flat. So make sure we're on track 4 with the kick. Printing it in, here we go. I think that Operation Hot Drums is complete, and now for the moment that we've all been waiting for. The bass. Slap it, the bass. Pulse Synth Engine. Can't say that word. I use the Pulse Synth Engine for this one. There it is. We're gonna start from scratch. See what we can come up with. Oh, there we go. Take off the delay.
3 hours later.
So we're getting pretty close to what I came up with before. Let's leave it at that for now and see what it sounds like with the rest of the track. There's a bit of like crackling going on, which I'm not into. That's better. Just a little side note here, I don't think that anyone really fully understands how any of these synth engines work. You can sort of guess what each of these parameters is, but with teenage engineering, they're a little bit tricky. You never know for sure. So it really is just a matter of twisting knobs around and finding out what sounds work for you. And anyone who claims they understand this synth fully is lying. Let's take a look at effects. Usually I go with punch or nitro for this. Let's try nitro so we can really push that low end. Bit more resonance in there. There we go. It's got a bit more bite to it now. I'm actually curious. I kind of lost perspective here. Let's compare. I'm going to save bass 2, the one we just came up with. Saving. Cool. And then bass 1. Okay. I don't know. This one's a little bit more like mid heavy, and this one's more bottom heavy. Let's go with bass 2, just to switch it up. Next thing we'll look at is how we want to program this beat. So my playing isn't like super tight. I want this bass to be locked in. So once again, we're gonna go with endless sequencer. Notice that the swing is once again on 57%. When there's a lot of 16th notes happening, that's when you need to swing it. And we're set to 16th notes here. Let's do it. Okay, let's hear that. And of course, the last couple things we need to think about is how hot we want to record it in relation to the rest of the tracks. Do we want it to be more up front or more in the background? I really like this bass line, so let's keep it somewhat up front. Okay, we'll leave it at that. We're on track 2. Make sure you don't record over anything else. So right before we record this, we've been using the endless sequencer a lot. I actually have another YouTube video that focuses specifically on endless. There it is. So if you want to dig deeper into it, definitely take a look. And I have a playlist called the OP1 Performance Function Series where I make a track with each of the sequencers on the OP1. I'll leave a card to that once again, and I'll leave it also in the description. My God, I'm so good to you guys. I think we're ready. Let's record it. Track 2, let's do it. And we're done. I gotta say, it felt pretty good to make another OP1 video. It was refreshing. Sometimes it's good to just take a break from an instrument for a bit because when you come back to it, it just feels great. Score. Hopefully this enhanced the hell out of your OP1 and musical skills. As I mentioned earlier, like and subscribe if you're into this sort of content. The notification bell is definitely the most important thing though, so if you want to see more of me, hit the notification bell, and that's just the best way to support this channel. One of the best ways. Yeah, just boop, tap it. Tap it in. Just tap it in. I've covered the OP1 and other teenage engineering products a lot on all of my social medias and especially on YouTube. So I've left some playlists in the description if you're interested in more content like that. I've also left a link to all of my other playlists in the description. So like Arturia products, Roland, Logic Pro 10, music software. Some may say that I've done it all. But yeah, take a look. Maybe there's something there that you're interested in. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. And here's another performance of the same track, but on the SP404. LK